All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below as usual. This video is entitled How Fathers Are Pushed Out. You know, this is a process. And what I don't like about the process of there are deadbeat dads, I'm not talking about those guys. And there are fathers who are like in the house. I'm not talking about those guys. And there are fathers who are active and they have a working relationship with the other parent. I'm not talking about those guys. But this particular video, because I got to say all that because people try to play stupid and deflect, right? I'm talking about guys who are pushed out of their children's lives and how deliberate and systematic it is. And people come up like, well, that was 15 years worth of work. But today, where are you right now? That's an idiot comment you're making. like first and foremost, there are guys who want to be in the delivery room for their child's birth. They can't, this person makes me uncomfortable. I'm having this baby, so they can't be the first. They can't be one of the first people to greet their own child into the world. You're pushing a guy out. You're pushing the father out of the kid's life. I mean, let the doctor do his job. Let the nurse do his job. You let the mom do their job, and then let the father do his job. But see, when you can't even do that, that creates a wedge. Not necessarily with the father and the child, but but at that moment, it doesn't create a wedge between the father and the child but what it does is create an issue with bonding time. Because if you can get a group of people and your family and strangers to basically blockade you from your own child when they're entering the world, and it's that easy. I mean, everything else is par for the course. I mean, think about it. You flip that around, my shoulder. If you flip that around and you take a child from a mother and you lock her off and say you can't be with this child, people think that's cruel and unusual and crazy. And if the woman wasn't pregnant, that's something that can get you killed. But with a father, nah. That's just American culture. So, strike number one. So, if you can do that, you also have it's a stepping stone for some people to, well, if I could do that at the birth, then when it comes time to see the kid and be with the kid and bond with the kid, I'm in control, or my family's in control of taking away a father and child's bonding. Forget they bonding. They don't need to bond. So I'm going to make this as difficult as possible. So this kid can't actually create an effective bond with their own father. It'll always be, adversity, angst, drama, right? So when you do that, you effectively creating a wedge. Block. Number one, that for however how long that blocking lasts, even if you get into your child's life, you still have to start from scratch to bond because you never were bonded. And if somebody might say something like, well, it's your responsibility to do that. See, the problem with that is some people make it so difficult that you basically it basically makes fathers think, I might have to kill these people just to be in the presence of my child. And that's not really going to work, even though that's how far they're trying to make me go. So a lot of times when guys are pushed away, them not being, once you fight, they're not fighting, because if you started a battle with them that really is going to be a loss to the child. And a lot of y'all know that. A lot of y'all know, a guy start beating the brakes off of his child's mother and his child's mother's family, it's only going to create a horrific memory for that child and hatred from that point on to eternity, right? So you plan when you say like you don't understand that. So that creates another issue, right? Because now you got involved in the bonding. Now, because you can do those two things, and these things don't happen all together, like I'm saying it, but they can start at certain points and happen separately and then domino into something else. And then, then when it comes to teaching, whether it's teaching manners, giving a child an education, fathers are pushed out by undermining their tutelage. Father does something, it ain't nothing. You start putting in the kid's mind that whatever that father does, it's meaningless, it's worthless, it's not to be appreciated or respected. And so if you don't get the bond, and you don't get to understand everything's coming from a loving place, and you undermine the tutelage of life and life lessons, everything looks like it's coming from a negative space. So, and you create another issue. That's another problem. So you pushing the guy further out, because no matter what you say, he has to go through somebody to get to his own child. Even when using the legal system, whether it's the police department being called to make sure they don't get to see their kid, or tell them to come to see their kid to get their kid, and then when they get there, call the police and then run the guy off. That in their eyes, the kid looks like dad must be a bad guy because every time he shows up, the police are here, right? That type of thing. Then you got the situation where the family are accomplices in it. Remember, we're the ones that love you. We're your family. We're the only ones who care. So, even when it comes past the tutelage, you can't teach nothing because you're always bad cop, right? But you're bad cop because you're put in a light of negativity, and every barrier you go through, it has to be some dramatic negative experience. And same thing with teaching the kids that you're evil. Like, that's another issue, because guess what? It's not like you going to be with your daddy. You going to hang out with your dad. Y'all going to eat. No, it's a punishment. You want me to go send you with your dad? He might chop your head off. Oh, you don't like your bedtime? I'll send you to your dad. So of course you see all these kids flipping out even when they kids, when it's time to go pick up their dad. Because you done told them their dad was Pennywise and and his mouth going, I'm gonna eat my son, that type of thing, right? So you create an issue. Now the kid's scared not only is the kid scared of the father, they're disrespectful to the father because you taught them to undermine the father, because you taught them to undermine everything they do. They haven't bonded with their kid because you got in the way of that, and and you made yourself a consigliere. So these kids are, I can't like you until I get the okay from my mama. And I don't know what you got to do, but you got to do something to make my mama need to deem you her daddy like a knight. And if she can do that, then I'll be your child. It's like, it's not gonna work out well, B. These are things that happen. You have the situations where when it comes to communication, like I said, the bad cop thing. When everything good happens, we did this together. It's mama and child. Yes, when something bad happens, we gonna call your daddy because you got a problem. And when it comes to you being bad and evil, the only person that can understand that is your daddy, because your angelic mama knows nothing about these bad behaviors. So you create these psychological wedges, right? And what winds up happening is the guy's a bad guy no matter what, no matter what, and it further pushes the person away. When it comes to like you try to call your child. Some of you mothers like hanging up phones, muting phones, taking the phone. Don't tell them this. Don't tell them that. We got to keep a secret. This is for the family. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't just say hello. Be mean. Say fuck you, daddy. That's what. Yes. Amen. Won't he do it? Like y'all do that. So then these kids wind up growing up thinking that that's okay. And then they wind up getting checked by their father. And then, how dare you talk to me that way for being disrespectful to you, daddy? Creates another problem. And, and then these kids, when they're of age to call, they won't answer the phone, they won't talk, because they've been taught all of these things are effectively right that they're doing. And, this is how people are pushing these fathers out of people's lives. In the blame game, everything, when people don't talk about this much, but when mothers make bad choices in life and it affects their life, and if it affects their life, it affects their children, they won't take responsibility for it. They'll blame it on the fathers of their kids. Oh, you didn't pay your bills. We sitting here in the cold with the lights off because of your daddy. What the fuck? And the kid, I didn't eat last month because of you. Why you didn't eat last month? Because we didn't have no money, because you didn't pay all the bills. We suffered. But the phone worked. Yeah, so why you didn't answer the phone? Huh? I would have brought you some food if I would have knew you was starving. You should have knew by the way I wasn't talking to you that the lights was off. What? Are you serious right now? When I asked you, was everything okay? And you said everything was just fine. Was this when the lights was off? Yes. You're tripping right now. They told me not to tell you nothing. So why you mad now? That's a good question. That type of stuff, right? But what winds up happening worse, because you make this a normal procedure in life, these kids grow up and they become adults, and anybody who's an authority figure, they're adversarial to them. And, in the beginning, people, oh, these kids acting like this because they don't have a father in their life. But then, teachers get caught with this in the beginning because teachers and other people get caught with this in the beginning because, if you got somebody third, fourth, fifth, sixth grader and they acting, divorce, breakup kind of thing. But when you start seeing this in kid after kid after kid after kid with family after family after family after family, and you see these parents don't come to the PTA meetings, and when you say your kid did this and you're going off on the teachers, then the teachers start realizing, wait, this ain't got nothing to do with these kids' fathers. These got something to do with y'all bad ass mothers and y'all bad behaviors. And now, this is why some teachers wind up skipping talking to mothers and talk to the fathers, whether they're in the house or not in the house, or in the state or not in the state. Because they're like, oh, okay. So it's, it creates an issue. But because of that, the kids wind up growing up irresponsible, thinking that everything that they do isn't their fault also. So you got kids out here, lying, cheating, stealing, and I wouldn't be like this if it wasn't for you. No, I'm not the kind of person to tell you. I told you stop lying. I told you don't be cheating people. I told you don't steal. I told you what could happen to you. I told you don't have to do that. But when I told you all those things, it didn't work. Who are you? They told me never to listen to you. Problem. And then these kids wind up becoming parents, and what winds up happening in society is you become the very type of parent that you were taught that your father was. And when you become that person, and then you see how people treat you, and then your life sucks, and you're like, oh my God, it becomes a problem. And that very same mother normally in her family don't want to put up they don't want to put up with your actions, even though they taught you all of your actions. And then you want your father to put up with you to reverse everything that it took decade and a half, 2 decades to create, which creates another issue, because a lot of people come to their fathers later in life, and with the deprogramming, they're constantly doing shit. And the problem is, because they don't, they lack accountability, responsibility, they didn't do nothing. You have to literally transcribe everything that they've done back to back for them, day and time and moment and signature, to say, this is why you're getting treated like this. You did this and you did this and you did this, and that's that. Well, it doesn't matter, all the things that I've done. It doesn't matter. Yes, it fucking does. If you go to jail, it matters that you committed a crime, doesn't it? Oh yeah. So if you did all of this shit, it matters. Why do you think nothing matters? Because they were taught that they were right even when they were dead wrong. And you push the father, and this is how and then these kids wind up being adults and pushing their fathers away as adults, and sometimes being in their mid-20s and even 30s, wind up coming back to their dad when they're dealing with life, and they're actually seeing it from the perspective of a person that either got, if it happened to them if they're men, or if they're a young lady and she's doing it to a guy, and then she sees that she's the very type of woman that she hates, because even when women do it when they're older, they don't necessarily see it in themselves until somebody has to point it out. Like, yeah, but you do that all the time, because it's automatic. So, this is my opinion on this one, man. It's longer than 15 minutes, so I got to go. I'm going to stop in here. Bye.